Hey, it's Ayla, and this is Not That Kind of CEO. Today's episode is all about running a business while you're sleep deprived, which is what we mompreneurs very often are. Currently am at the moment, which is why I wanted to record this episode in the first place, because this is like the third time this week that I slept, I think, 3 hours, and I still need to keep my business running. And I figured if I'm the one having that problem, there's probably plenty of mompreneurs out there who have the same problem. So what I'm going to be talking about today is what we're doing wrong when we're sleep deprived and a few tips on how you can actually keep the show running while you're running on fumes. Yeah, if that's something that's interesting to you, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Ayla, and I am not that kind of CEO. You won't find me in a fancy corner office, but rather in a quiet corner of my home. I followed a bold vision and built my life and business around it. That's how I ended up in France, where I'm raising 2 little girls, renovate our 500-year-old castle together with my husband, run a coaching business, and still have space to breathe. After a decade of helping women simplify their business to make room for what matters most, I created this show to help you do the same. Let's build your business around the life you love. Welcome to Not That Kind of CEO. Yes, running a business while you're sleep deprived. No fun at all. And I think we've all been there. When I think about working sleep deprived, actually what comes to mind for me is working in a corporate job, like early 20s, and going out all night and then having to show up. But this kind of sleep deprivation hits very different because it's your kids, and usually you're a bit older than, early 20s when you have them and when you have your business. So your body's also saying like, yeah, no, we don't want to do that anymore. So I think that the big mistake most mompreneurs are making is just try to act normal. Try to act like nothing's wrong, like you have had a restful 9 hours of sleep last night, and tackle things head first anyway, and then just try to keep going on pure grit and willpower throughout the day. And that's not working. That's not working at all. So for me, what's happened this week is, as I said, my husband is away. He's back in Holland for work. I'm here with the kids. And my nervous system is on high alert because I'm the caretaker of the entire household now. So whenever there's like a minor sound in the night, I'm wide awake. There was also a full moon last night. Don't know if your team no sleep on full moon or not. I usually am. Also, I'm on a diet, so calorie deficit, and my body's like, no, we think you're dying and you need to eat. And if you don't wake up now, you're probably not going to wake up ever again. So it's a wonderful combination. And then Tuesday, it's Thursday today. Tuesday, I went back to sleep when the birds were singing, and I hate that so much when you're like, oh, the world is starting again, and then there you are trying to go to sleep. I managed to squeeze in like an extra hour of sleep, and I woke up and I was like, no, big old nope, this is not going to happen today. So I actually rescheduled the recording of my podcasts to today because I was like, oh, that gives me 2 days, 2 nights to recuperate a bit. I did not know what was in store for me. So here I am Thursday, and I'm even more sleep deprived than I was on Tuesday. So I'm like, oh, this is going wonderful. And that's the whole point, I think, because you can plan all you want, but when there's little kids involved, yeah, your plans go out of the window pretty quickly. I personally have nothing to complain about, like nothing, because my kids, I was an entrepreneur already for nearly 2 years, 3 years, when my first daughter, Juliet, was born. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so tough, like having a baby and getting her to sleep through the night and yada, yada, yada. And she slept through the nights in 2 weeks. And I feel sort of guilty admitting that because there's probably mothers out there are going to hear this and are like, what? 2 weeks? Yes, I'm sorry. I enjoyed it very much. And then for a second, we were like, okay, this, the first kid had to have been like a lucky shot. No way that we're probably not going to be as lucky this time. And we were right. We were not as lucky because it took her 5 weeks to sleep through the night. And then she slept through the night ever since. Both of them did. They hardly ever wake up during the night. Our youngest, Milou, just went through a phase where she had night terrors, and she would wake up and then stumble around the house while screaming and crying. So you wake up in a not very nice kind of way. And also you don't have the newborn hormones. Not fun. But whenever we've had phases like these with our kids, they're phases. So in like a few weeks' time, we're out of it. So in general, we are very lucky that we are all getting the sleep that we need. Nonetheless, I have been, until recently, a very bad sleeper. So I have had many sleepless nights, not due to kids, but just due to myself. Keeping it fun around here to keep myself awake. Long story short, we all know what it's like. And as I said, I think that the mistake that we're making is just then sitting at your desk at 9 o'clock in the morning and just going, I'll grab another coffee and I'll just tackle the day head first anyway. But there is a but here, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an interesting episode. But when you do that, you're losing time. I feel like almost every episode I make, like the problem that you have with the mistake that you're making is that you're losing time. But that's what it all boils down to for mompreneurs. Like we don't have a lot of time to start with. And then if we're not using the time that we do have in a right way, it's just, you'll have even less. That's the consequence here. You're going to lose a lot of time on non-productivity if you're just stubbornly placing yourself behind your desk and going, okay, I need to do everything I can and just pump it out, and then I can rest afterwards. But if you are doing it like that and you're losing a lot of time on non-productivity, you could have used that time for either something useful or to rest and refill your body a bit. What's the word for that? Not refill, but help your body a bit by resting and maybe taking a nap in the afternoon or something like that. Yeah, that's not fun. And what I wonder is if your kid came to you in the morning and she said, or he said, you know what, Mom, I had the worst night. I was wide awake at 2 o'clock and I just could not fall back asleep. I saw the clock turn 5 and then afterwards I fell asleep for, I don't know when, but 2 to 5 at least I was awake and I just feel like crap today. I feel like I want to eat junk food. I feel like I don't want to go to school. Can I please just stay on the couch and watch movies all day? I wonder how you would react. And if that reaction is the same response that you're giving yourself, because I don't think it is. I think that when your kid would come to you and say that, you would be so compassionate and just tell them, that blows. I feel so bad for you and how unfortunate that that's happening. And let's take extra good care of you today. See if there's things that we can scratch out of your schedule. Do you really need to go to school today? Like, is it an important day, or could you maybe skip like the afternoon or the day entirely? Or if you would go, tough luck that you're having to go to school on just a few hours and, you have to focus all day long in class. And yeah, it's just too bad for you. You just have to go and make the best of it. Good luck with that. And I don't think you would do that, but you're doing it to yourself when you are sitting behind your desk like that and just going, you need to work today. So what I would recommend you do is have a script ready. Have a worst case scenario script ready for when the day inevitably hits that you're going to have to work while you're not feeling your greatest. Because when you have that, there are several things that happen. You're not fed up at the beginning of the day because you got a plan. You're a gal with a plan. And that's always a good feeling. So whatever happens to me quite often when I wake up after a worse, like when I wake up after a bad night, I have an aura ring. So I can actually see how bad it was, which is honestly not great because then you have an excuse that you can use all day and you just go, oh yeah, I had such a tough night. You can see it in my sleep score. It's really bad. And immediately you start out with a negative mindset that your day is going to suck because you're so tired and you have all these things to do, but you're so tired, and etc., etc. So when you have a script ready for the day that you are tired, it doesn't really matter because when you wake up and you just go, oh, what a shit night, it doesn't matter because I have a plan ready for when it happens, and that immediately, it's hard to describe, but when I think about that, it immediately sort of gives me relief because it's okay. I can tackle the day in a way that fits my current state without my mind having to sort of talk me down and just go, oh no, this blows. And I think that a right mindset at the start just makes all the difference because you look at things more positively and with a can-do attitude instead of that then also helps you save brain space, especially if you have the plan ready. Because what's the toughest thing to do when you're tired out of your mind is just think straight. So if you don't have a plan and you sit down behind your desk and you just go, okay, let's do it anyway, you're probably just blank. Like, okay, where do I start? What am I going to do? Don't do that because, it's hard enough to think normally when you're that tired. So have a plan ready and you don't have to think about it anymore. There you go. Okay, here are a few things that are in my plan for days like these. First of all, this is sort of counterproductive, but give yourself grace. As I just said, if your kid came to you feeling like this, would you be tough as nails on them, or would you give them love and compassion? And please do the same for yourself. It's just, why would you be hard on yourself? It's probably out of your control that you're feeling like this right now, unless you want to go blame your kids and be really mad at them, but I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't be too hard on your body as well, or on the full moon for that matter. Just give yourself grace and acknowledge the fact that you are very tired and that you're going to try to make the best of it and see what's going to happen. Second thing that's in my plan is take care of your body first. If you're tired and you're trying to pump out a full day on grit and caffeine, you're probably going to crash mid-afternoon and then grab like a bar of chocolate or chips or whatever your comfort food is because you have no willpower left. And we all know that stuff like that is great for the mind and great when you're in your early 20s and you have a hangover. But when you're a mompreneur with kids trying to run a business, it's going to have its consequences in the days to follow. If you're going to eat really badly today, have a plan ready. Yeah, maybe not because it depends on what's in your fridge and in your cupboards, of course. But I am very conscious on days like these on what I'm not eating sugar, not eating refined carbs, stuff like that, not drinking too much caffeine. I already chucked 2 portions of electrolytes because I was like, yeah, okay, let's fuel the body with some good stuff here. And then see if there's anything that you can shift, should shift, need to shift. For example, today I don't have coaching calls, which is great. And even for me, usually when I have coaching calls on days like these, I'm okay with doing them still. What I should not be doing is recording podcast episodes because the English is hard enough for me as it is. And then when I have to think about words, well, I just spoke French in school and Dutch to my kids and now English to you. And I'm like, words, where are the words? But as I said, I already postponed it Tuesday and I really want to do it this week anyway. And tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just going to take the opportunity to do it today. Maybe tomorrow is going to be worse. See if there is something that you need to shift. For example, if you are a coach who's working with traumatized people and you need to be on top of your game, or if you're an athlete, for all I care, if there is stuff that you really should not be doing while you're this sleep deprived, don't do them. The world is probably not going to end. And I think that any client would be grateful, honestly, if you were to send them a message and say, I am not on top of my game today. I really want to be on top of my game when I'm working with you. So can we please postpone it and pick another date? And I think that they would appreciate that more than if you were to show up with bags in your eyes and a bunch of coffee in your hand, just going, yeah, see what you can shift. The next thing that I do is stick to your vision. Stick to a power hour on a task that's related to your vision. So it gives you the feeling that the thing that you're going to do today is bringing you somewhere. If you are tired out of your mind and you're going on Instagram to get inspiration, no, that's not going to work. But if you are tired and you are working on a new offer that you want to launch and doing a bunch of research on what your target audience is saying online, something that's like low-key easy, but still getting you somewhere. And then try to fit that into a power hour where you set an intention on, this is what I'm going to do this hour, this is what I want to accomplish. Eliminate all distractions, set a timer, and go for it for like 45 minutes to an actual hour, and then close it off. And then after the power hour, see if there is another power hour in you, or maybe there's not. At least check in with yourself afterwards to see whether it's still there or not. But for crying out loud, don't go following shiny objects. Like, these are not days to be dragged into someone else's funnel or something like that, because you won't have the willpower to say no, or you're gonna get dragged into some kind of rabbit hole on information. Don't start random conversations with your chat GPT, because before you know it, an hour is going to be gone and you're like, what did I actually just do? And then, you get back to what I was just talking about. On days like these, you either want to do something that's super productive, super helpful, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm so grateful that I did that, or you're going to rest. Don't go for the in-between here. That's not going to help you at all. And then lastly, try to focus on tasks that are giving you a spark, that are easy, that's making you happy. For me, it's podcasting. So while it might not be the cleverest thing for me to record a podcast while I'm tired because of speaking, it actually does make me happy and gives me a lot of energy. So I'm glad to be recording a podcast today. But what I should not be doing on a day like this is search for best performing keywords or something like that, because that drains my energy. It's boring. It takes up a lot of time, and I'm just sitting here scrolling through keywords and just going, nee. Have things prepared. Like, if your business is set up good, there are always things that you can do, and then just make sure that the things you're going to do on days like these are things that are making you happy and get you somewhere, or giving you rest. All right, that's it. I think that if you're sleep deprived, then in that case, I feel very bad for you. I'm giving you a virtual hug because you need it and you deserved it. But I hope then that this has given you something to hold on to for either today or the next time this is happening. As I just talked about Power Hour, I actually have a template for you to use for a Power Hour. You can grab it through the show notes. I'll link it up for you so you can implement power hours into your work week. Those are so very helpful. If you have a solid plan for your business on where you're going, like if you have your vision straight and you know what you want to accomplish, then power hours, implementing a few power hours in your week, like 3 to 5 in your week even, will be fuel to the fire, because you'll get so much done on things that will move the needle for you that all the rest is going to come easier. So go grab the Power Hour Planner. I'll link it up for you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode or tuning in on YouTube, because we're gonna go on YouTube with this. And leave a review if you'd like, because reviews are actually helping other women like you find the podcast or the YouTube show. But it would be really nice if more women found it and found something helpful. And then we can all run amazing businesses and show our kids what's possible when women rule the world. So help me help women rule the world by leaving a review. It would be amazing. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a lovely day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Not That Kind of CEO. If this episode gave you clarity, encouragement, or just even a moment to breathe, I'd love it if you left a review. It helps more women like you find this show, and that means the world to me. And if you're ready to build a business that fits your life, you know where to find me. See you in the next episode.